Hello again, and welcome to the Comics Online podcast, Season 16, Episode 31.1.
You know what, Kevin? We should do a ComicsOnline.com rebirth.
Rebirth. Today is the rebirth, Troy. Now, as always, the point one episode, of course, is this video episode that you're watching right now here, filmed at Flashback Comics here in Woodbridge, Virginia. And I'm your host, Kevin Gaussoin, and here's my co-host, Troy David Phillips, as always. But our rebirth.
Rebirth.
We're not rebooting anything.
Nope.
We're reborn. We're going to talk about some things. Before we get into our top five, we're going to talk about some things.
Right. Well, you know what? I threw it out there. Let's start with Rebirth. Okay. So last week, if you all were out at your local comic shops, wherever they might be, maybe you come to Flashback, but maybe you live too far away and you go to another shop. Maybe you're in Virginia Beach watching this. Maybe you're in New Jersey or Delaware or some other place. But if you're here at Flashback Comics in Woodbridge, Virginia, I told you last week, read Flash 52. Read Superman 52. Read, hold that up, Justice League number 50. And then read the DC Rebirth. Now, it's been a whole week and the internet is on fire talking about these two books. Justice League 50, Rebirth number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and drop some minor spoilers. If you haven't had a chance to read it yet, because this book is selling out everywhere, it's crazy. If you haven't had a chance to read it yet, I won't drop some of the big things on you, but I do have to say this much. One of the key figures in Rebirth is Wally West. And I mean white kid Wally West, redheaded kid Wally West, Kid Flash, who became Flash, who disappeared into the Speed Force, who was written out of Flashpoint Paradox, written out of New 52. And Barry Allen was our Flash of New 52 all along. Well, Wally is back, and he has run through different points in time and touched base with different characters that are currently in the New 52. It looks like Wally's coming back, but it does not take away the Wally West that was introduced in New 52 Flash. There are a lot of things introduced in this Rebirth that are going to be significant storylines, significant things happening in story, which, if you're a New 52 fan, just keep reading. Just keep reading along. If you're new to DC Comics, this is a great place to jump in. If you're a long-timer like me, well, this is yet another big event, not unlike, hold this one up for me, Kev. DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths, the 1985 DC 50th anniversary. This brought the end of the multiverse and the beginning of the new DC universe. And that was also the death of the Flash. The Flash is so significant to DC.
Barry Allen,
that is, yes. Okay, this is, hold that up, Kev, DC's Infinite Crisis. This brought back the multiverse. This had Alexander Luthor and Superboy Prime and punching the walls of reality and bringing back the multiverse. As Alexander Luthor was attempting to combine multiple worlds together to create the perfect Earth, in his view. And we got to see the multiple versions, the parallel versions of different characters side by side. But we got to restore things like Power Girl's origin. We saw the Anti-Monitor's, his body armor. The character himself didn't come back. Not until DC's Forever Evil event did we see the Anti-Monitor in his New 52 incarnation. So much going on right now. So much happening. And I'm so excited. You get to that last page of Rebirth. We're not going to talk about that this week. We're going to talk about it next week because I want to give them time to catch up. It's huge. It is huge. And it's going to engender lots of different feelings. Maybe you'll read it and you'll go, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. And maybe you'll read it and go, oh my God, what are they thinking? It will go through a lot. It will take you through an emotional roller coaster ride. People on the internet, like I said, they're blowing this up. They're on fire. Some people are behind it. Some people are thinking DC's out of their mind. But I'll tell you what, they're selling a lot of comics with this. So, DC's Rebirth. Get into that. You're going to start seeing this week. It's I'm bleeding into Kevin's top 5 a little bit here.
No, these are my plus ones.
Oh, okay. DC Rebirth Batman. Okay, this is the one-shot special issue Batman Rebirth #1. And put it up there. Green Arrow Rebirth issue 1. This is the one-shot. After the one-shots, the regular books will pick up and move down the chain. Green Lanterns, plural. We're going to see the woman that was Power Ring. She had the Power Ring. And we're going to see Simon Baz come back into the focal point of the story. So obviously with Simon Baz, that tells you the continuity of Green Lantern is not rebooting. We're moving on with this story. We're taking the character elements that you have seen and we are advancing them. But we're bringing back other stuff that you might have missed. Look for the Superman Rebirth, yeah. Look for the Titans Rebirth. Look for the Flash Rebirth. Look for some new creative teams, new writers and new artists coming onto the books. I'm excited about Greg Rucka taking over Wonder Woman. I'm excited about Tom King taking over Batman. We're going to see the all-star Batman, not itself part of the Rebirth, but if you've been a fan of Scott Snyder, you are going to be all over Scott Snyder on All-Star Batman, and the first all-star artist in this is John Romita Jr. So, yeah. And Kevin right now is showing you the greatest heroes, the greatest threats, DC Universe Rebirth. Look at that. A lot going on with Superman, especially if you've been a fan of the Lois and Clark series, if you've been reading The Last Days of Superman, yeah, you already know, wow, we're going somewhere. Something is going to happen. What is going to happen? I have no idea. I'm trying to not get too far ahead. I'm avoiding spoilers. Believe me, I am avoiding the internet like the plague sometimes.
It's true. He tried to get him to answer some messages, and it's like crazy. Yeah. You have to walk into the store. See, it's the trick. He tricks you into coming into the store.
Kevin loves
He'll answer the phone, though. He'll answer the phone. Yeah, so
Kevin, you read Rebirth.
I read Rebirth.
What did you think?
Just today, and honestly, Troy, this sounds like, you know, I'm shilling for you or something like that, or for DC. It's been a while since I've trusted DC with my heart.
It's true.
They've broken my heart pretty hard, and I read this and I'm like, oh, this is kind of. Well, this is Troy's version of the show, so I'm gonna you know, avoid the profanity here and say it is undamaging, shall we say, unmessing the DC universe. So it seems, and you know, in no small part thanks to Mr. West. Wally West.
Yeah.
Ginger West. Desperado.
Yeah, it's you know, Kevin and I were going to do like a point counterpoint, but we are agreeing.
Yeah, we completely agree. This is Wally West.
Yes.
Ginger West. Desperado.
Oh, Kevin.
You know.
So you know, it's again, the Flash characters, so important to the backbone of the DC universe, whether it's Barry Allen introducing the Silver Age of comics, Barry Allen's death in Crisis on Infinite Earths, definitively bringing an end to the Bronze Age. There are a lot of Bronze Age comic events, like the death of Gwen Stacy, the introduction of the Punisher, the introduction of Wolverine, the introduction of the all-new different X-Men, etc. But Barry Allen's death most assuredly is the end of the Bronze Age and the beginning of the new modern age of comics at that point, I would have to say.
Sure.
And then Barry's presence in first the Rebirth, the Flash Rebirth, and then Flashpoint Paradox, and then the New 52. Barry is hugely important. You know, what can be said? And now Wally, who took over from Barry, he took over, he filled in, he became our hero. He became the Flash of a generation. For 22 years, Wally West was the Flash.
Right.
And now here we have Wally running through the pages of Rebirth and bringing to the reader what they need to see character by character.
This was really well done.
I
was so impressed with this, and then, you know, the very last panel of the main story is a shocker.
Shocker.
And then rolls into an epilogue involving what's revealed there. I'm not going to spoil it for you. If you haven't been spoiled already, I would avoid it because it's, you know, it will color your perception of it. But if you haven't been spoiled, you will probably be very surprised, and it's a good surprise. It's an interesting take on all of this, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And I'm serious. I've been very unhappy with DC Universe ever since New 52. On a broad scale, Bat books, like I say, Bat books have been great. But overall, I've been upset with them, and I feel like I can come back now. I can come back now. They've tried a few other times, but I want to go and read pretty much anything that I used to like, including Flash. I'm excited to come back now.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to need some more money. So please, at ComicsOnline, just send me your PayPal. We'll take whatever you want to donate to my comic fund, because it's going to cost some more money now.
Oh, poor Kevin. So it's a laundry list of talent happening in the DC universe Rebirth. I see Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, Ethan Van Sciver, Ivan Reis, Jimenez, Santorelli, Wright. I mean, there's a lot of key talent making this event happen, and happen in such a way that for the reader who's been reading, you're going to like where this is going. For the person coming in new, this is a great place to come in. You're going to see DC's iconic characters. You're going to see some of the lesser lights.
Are we out?
Just about. It's blinking red.
It's blinking. Okay.
Blinking.
We better hurry it up.
Lincoln. Then let's jump over to the Marvel side of things. There are two big things that you need to be keen in on. One of them from last week is, Kev, can you, my lovely assistant, Kevin Gaussoin.
Captain America
Steve
#1.
Steve Rogers, Captain America, issue #1. The internet, again, has been on fire with this book. There is a huge, just this monumental, game-changing last page. And it has people talking about what's happened to the iconic nature of Captain America. What are they doing to this character? Well, to be honest, we don't know. It's only the first issue. We saw the page, we saw what Cap had to say, and it shocked and stunned us. Now let's see what happens next. Is this going to be something like Axis, or something like Original Sin? Is this going to be like Tales of Suspense with the Red Skull? Is this going to be any number of things? Maybe it'll be similar to something we've seen before. You know what? It takes me back to the Winter Soldier. It takes me back to going, why are they bringing Bucky back to life? But when it was done, Ed Brubaker turned my opinion around. I let the story go, read it, and liked it. Was I happy about Bucky being alive again? Not especially, but the story was so good, the writer did it. Let's give Nick Spencer a chance with Captain America, Steve Rogers. And that segues me to the next one, Civil War II. Now, Kev has already picked Civil War II #1 to be in his top 5. I'm bringing back 0 for those of you,
And this was last week, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
And Civil War 0 begins, it sets up what's going to come. The conflict, spearheaded by Iron Man on one side, Carol Danvers on the other, is very, very different. And the moralistic point that we're going to come to is, do we wait for the evil to occur and then punish it, or do we try to punish before it happens? She-Hulk is in a court case in the 0 issue involving the Jester, and that begins the process of, how do you divide what side you're on? Which side of this argument are you on? Team Carol or Team Tony? And I have to say, even at this point, I'm starting to gel a little bit, but I'm still on the fence, because each side has legitimate points to make.
Wait, which one is Tony and which one is Carol?
Tony is on the protect the future. Carol is on the change the future. So Carol is on the preemptive side. Tony is on the let it happen first side.
Okay.
And Tony surrounded himself in armor. Of course, he's going to be all protect. Carol has been a spearhead for change as, a leading female character. You could call her a feminist icon, but she has been busting down doors and knocking down boundaries and doing her thing for a very long time. I love Carol Danvers. So, yeah. Tony is not completely out of his mind on this one, though. This is not like the Registration Act. This is very different.
How is this different from the plot for the Winter Soldier?
Very different, because it's not predicated on the actions of one single character doing something. It's not predicated on the method at which heroes are accountable for things after the fact. This is accountability or preemptive strikes.
Well, but that was the thing there, where they were going to use the helicarriers to preemptively strike and say, we think that there's something really bad going to happen. That person is dangerous. We're going to zap them from space.
And, of course, primarily behind that is it's a Hydra thing. It's we're going to preemptively take out threats to Hydra.
But is it
Bruce Banner?
But is it even better? Is it better for if we're going to zap supposed villains? Like they've been a problem in the past. They're probably going to be a problem in the future. Let's just nuke them. Let's just shoot them in the street.
Well, let's see how that unfolds. That's how we're set up. Let's see where we go next from here. I have not been let down with Marvel events. I've been enjoying them. And Civil War 2 is off to a great start. Brian Michael Bendis, once again, Brian Michael Bendis. Iron Man, International Iron Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, Brian Michael Bendis. Knock it off already.
All right.
You ready for your top 5, Ken?
My top 5 this week. Civil War 2, number 1. And I'm just going to rage through this real fast. Civil War 2, number 1. Coming up next, all new, all different Avengers, number 10. As must always be in my top 5 when it exists in any week, The Walking Dead, number 155, tip of the spear.
155?
The Walking Dead just gets better and better. It's so amazing. I'm loving it. And as always, there are Spider books this week. So we have Spider-Man 2099, number 11. What number are we on?
We are currently
11.
On 11.
And Amazing Spider-Man, number 13.
Lucky 13.
And so you've got 2 Spider books and a Walking Dead book, and a bunch of great other stuff. This is a week for me. Thank you, Comic Book Powers That Be, for giving me some great stuff to read this week. I'm just sorry that I'm so far behind. We're running out of battery, so we're going to cut it short. But thank you for watching, and we will see you next week. And this weekend, we will be at AwesomeCon, so don't forget, we were at booth A5. See us there.
From leaping tall buildings to going off like gamma bombs. Switch your internet browser to ComicsOnline.com.